The woman's breath came in short, painful gasps as she stumbled down the sidewalk. Her belly was heavy, stretched tight, her body weakened by exhaustion. She clutched a trembling hand to her stomach. Something was wrong. People walked past, their heads turned away. No one stopped. No one even noticed. Then, without warning, her legs buckled. She crumpled onto the hard pavement, her vision spinning. The pain in her abdomen sharpened, her body screaming in protest. She tried to call out, but the words stuck in her throat. A car screeched nearby. A man in a suit cursed under his breath, stepping around her like she was nothing more than an inconvenience. She was alone. Her baby. Tears blurred her vision. Was this how it ended? Dying alone in the street? Then, a shadow moved. A figure dashed toward her, moving faster than anyone else around. She barely had the strength to lift her head, but through her fading vision, she saw him. A boy. He was young, no older than 15, dressed in clothes that looked like they had seen better days. His skin was smeared with dust, his feet bare against the cold concrete. But his eyes, sharp, alert, filled with something the others didn't have. Compassion. "Ma'am." His voice was urgent, breathless. "You okay?" She tried to respond, but only a weak whimper escaped her lips. Without hesitation, the boy crouched down, his small hands trembling as he touched her shoulder. His fingers barely brushed against the fine silk of her dress before he pulled back, realizing she was someone important. Someone who didn't belong in his world. But still, he didn't leave. The woman blinked at him. Help." Her voice was barely above a whisper. The boy didn't hesitate. With strength that should have been impossible for someone so small, he slipped his arms under her and lifted her up. She gasped, her head falling against his shoulder. His heart pounded beneath his thin shirt. He was scared. But he wasn't stopping. "Hang on, lady," he muttered, adjusting her weight. "I got you." People stared now, some whispering, others pointing. Yet still, no one helped. He gritted his teeth. Fine. He'd do it alone. His feet slapped against the pavement as he hurried forward, the woman's weight pressing against him. He didn't know where to go, but his gut told him he couldn't stay here. Then, the sirens came. Blue and red lights flashed in the distance, growing brighter, closer. The woman's body tensed in his arms. She let out a weak sound, a choked sob, but not in relief. It was fear. The boy felt it too. This wasn't just about saving a stranger. This was something else. Something bigger. Something dangerous. The sirens screamed through the night, flashing red and blue against the concrete walls. The boy's breath hitched, his arms tightening around the woman's trembling body. She was afraid. Not relieved. Afraid. Why? The boy wasn't about to wait and find out. He took a sharp turn down an alley, his bare feet slapping against the pavement. His heart pounded. His lungs burned. But he didn't stop. Behind him, the police cars skidded to a stop. Doors flew open. Heavy boots thundered onto the sidewalk. "Ma'am? Are you okay?" The officers' voices were firm, clipped, professional. The woman let out a weak, strangled sound, but she didn't answer. The boy's grip on her tightened. He didn't know why she was scared, but he knew one thing: he had to get her out of here. A sharp whistle cut through the air. "You! Stop right there!" They were talking to him. The boy froze. His instincts screamed at him to run, to drop the woman and disappear into the night like he always did. But something inside him, the same thing that had made him stop when no one else did, kept him rooted to the ground. He turned slowly, his muscles tensed, ready to bolt if he had to. A tall officer was approaching, his hand hovering near his belt. The other cops were focused on the woman, speaking in low, urgent voices. The officer's sharp eyes raked over the boy. Judging. What do you think you're doing, kid? The boy's jaw tightened. She needed help. The officer's brows furrowed. And you decided to carry her off instead of waiting for paramedics? She was, the boy hesitated. He didn't know how to explain it. The officer took a step closer, his shadow stretching over them. The boy had been in enough trouble before to know how this worked. He didn't belong here. A poor black boy carrying a wealthy, pregnant woman in the middle of the night? They wouldn't believe him. But before the officer could say anything else, the woman spoke. Her voice was weak, but the words sliced through the air like a blade. Don't touch him. Silence. The officers stiffened. The boy's heart nearly stopped. She lifted her head slightly, blinking past the exhaustion in her eyes. He saved me. The officer hesitated. His gaze flicked between them. His stance relaxed, just slightly. Ma'am, we need to get you to a hospital. The woman barely seemed to hear him. She turned her gaze to the boy, studying him in a way that made his skin prickle. Then, she did something that made everyone freeze. She reached into the folds of her expensive dress, and pulled out a gold bracelet. The boy's stomach dropped. Not because it was gold. Not because it looked expensive enough to feed him for a year. But because of what was carved into it. A name. A name he recognized. His hands clenched at his sides. This wasn't just some random woman. She was connected to his past. And for the first time since this night had begun, he felt real, bone-deep fear. Because if she was who he thought she was, then she knew who he was too. And that meant his secrets weren't safe anymore. The world around him blurred. The sirens, the officers, even the woman's weak breathing, they all faded into the background. All the boy could see was the name on the bracelet. It was impossible. It couldn't be real. The gold shimmered under the streetlights, engraved with a name that sent a chill down his spine. It was a name that once meant everything to him. A name that was stolen from him. The woman must have seen something in his face, recognition, fear, disbelief. Because she suddenly grabbed his wrist with weak fingers. You're him, aren't you? The boy yanked his arm away, his pulse hammering. No. 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 This was bad. He stepped back, ready to run. But before he could move, the millionaire's car screeched to a halt beside them. A man burst out, his face a mix of panic and fury. Where is she? The officers stepped aside. The woman, struggling to keep her eyes open, lifted a shaking hand toward the boy. He saved me, she whispered. The millionaire's eyes snapped to the boy, and immediately darkened. The boy had seen that look before. Disgust. Suspicion. Judgment. The millionaire took a step forward, towering over him. He was wearing an expensive suit, his watch alone worth more than everything the boy had ever owned. This was a man who had everything. The boy? He had nothing. And yet, in that moment, it felt like the millionaire was scared of him. Who are you? The man demanded. The boy clenched his fists. He wasn't going to answer that. But then, the woman did. Her voice was weak but certain. He's the son of. Stop, the boy snapped. His stomach twisted. Don't. The woman's eyes softened. You don't remember me, do you? He shook his head, but it was a lie. He did. Faint memories clawed at his mind, of a house with white walls, a woman's laughter, the warmth of a family he once had. Before it was all ripped away. But that was a lifetime ago. The millionaire was still glaring. "What's your game, kid? You think saving my wife means you can scam us for money?" The words were a slap. The boy felt heat rise in his chest. Typical. Didn't matter what he did. Didn't matter that he had risked his life. To this man, he was just another nobody. The woman squeezed the millionaire's hand, shaking her head. "No. He's not lying. I know who he is." The boy's stomach churned. He couldn't let this happen. His past was dead. He made sure of that. So why did this woman have a piece of it? And why did her husband look like he was about to destroy him? "Take her to the hospital," the millionaire snapped at the officers. Then he turned back to the boy, stepping closer. His voice was low, dangerous. "I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but stay away from my wife." The boy held his ground, his jaw tight. This man had no idea who he was. No idea that everything he once owned, everything he had stolen, had belonged to the boy's family first. And for the first time in years, the boy felt something deep in his chest. Something dark. Something that whispered, "It's time to take back what's yours." The boy's heart pounded as he stood face to face with the millionaire. The air between them was thick, charged with something neither of them could fully grasp, yet. The woman, still weak, was carefully lifted into the ambulance by paramedics. She kept looking at him, her lips parted like she wanted to say something. But the look in the millionaire's eyes was enough to keep her silent. "Go," the man ordered her, voice tight. "I'll handle this." Handle this? The boy felt his fists clench at his sides. He should have walked away. Should have disappeared into the night. But something inside him, the same thing that had forced him to stop and help this woman when no one else did, kept him standing there. Because this wasn't over. The millionaire stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Listen, kid. I don't know what you're after, but whatever it is, you're not getting it." The boy held his gaze. Steady. Unshaken. And then, for the first time, he spoke with purpose. "I don't want your money." The millionaire scoffed. "Then what do you want?" The boy took a slow breath. And then, with a calmness that sent a chill through the air, he said, "I want the truth." The millionaire's face darkened. His jaw tensed. His posture shifted, just slightly, but the boy saw it. Fear. Not the obvious kind. Not the kind you see in people who get caught red-handed. No. This was buried fear. The kind that only surfaces when the past refuses to stay dead. "Truth about what?" the man asked, but his voice lacked the confidence it had before. The boy lifted his chin slightly. "About how my family lost everything." The silence was deafening. The millionaire's face didn't change, but his fingers curled into fists. "I don't know what you're talking about." The boy tilted his head, studying him. "Liar." He took a step forward. "You do." The millionaire swallowed hard. Just for a second. But it was enough. The boy saw it. Felt it. This man knew exactly who he was. "Listen," the man's voice dropped to a low, threatening tone. "I don't know where you came from, but you're not dragging my family into your problems. Walk away." But the boy didn't. He took another step forward, closing the gap between them. "I saved your wife," he said quietly. "And your baby." The millionaire's breath hitched, just slightly. "You owe me one," the boy continued, eyes burning into his. And then, he made his request. "Tell me what really happened to my father." The man's entire body tensed. And for the first time, the millionaire looked truly terrified. The street felt colder now. The city noise had faded, drowned beneath the weight of something far heavier, secrets. The millionaire's expression hardened. His hands clenched at his sides, his jaw tight. But his eyes betrayed him. They flickered with something dangerous. Guilt. The boy saw it. Felt it. And he knew, he was right. This man wasn't just some rich stranger. He knew the truth. He knew what happened to his father. Say it, the boy pressed, stepping forward. Tell me what you did. The millionaire's nostrils flared. You don't know what you're talking about. The boy let out a short, humorless laugh. Really? He gestured to the ambulance, where the woman was still watching from the back, concern in her weary eyes. She recognized me. I saw it in her face. The millionaire's expression darkened. Maybe she remembers, the boy said. But you? You've been trying to forget. That hit a nerve. The man's fists tightened. I don't owe you any explanations. The boy wasn't backing down. Yes, you do. His voice was steady, his stare unshaken. You owe me the truth. For a long moment, the millionaire said nothing. The tension between them was suffocating, the weight of the past pressing in like an unseen force. Then, finally, the man spoke. His voice was quieter now, colder. Warning. You're asking for something that won't change anything, he said. Some things are better left buried. The boy's heart pounded. Buried. That word made his stomach turn. Because his father was buried too. In a grave that never should have existed. A grave that, deep down, he always knew was no accident. You think I'll stop asking? The boy challenged. The millionaire exhaled sharply, pinching the bridge of his nose. You don't understand how this world works. I understand enough, the boy shot back. I understand that men like you get to live in mansions while people like me end up with nothing. His voice wavered, just for a second. And I understand that my father trusted the wrong person. The millionaire flinched. There it was. The reaction he was waiting for. The boy's stomach twisted. His father's voice echoed in his head, a voice he hadn't heard in years. If anything ever happens to me, don't trust them. Them. The boy had spent his life wondering who they were. But now, he knew. It was this man. And the truth? It was worse than he ever imagined. A muscle twitched in the millionaire's jaw. His voice was sharp now, laced with something close to desperation. You have no idea what your father was involved in. The boy's blood ran cold. He stepped forward, his voice barely a whisper. Did you kill him? The millionaire's eyes widened for just a fraction of a second. And that was all the boy needed. He had his answer. The air between them was electric, heavy with the weight of a truth neither of them wanted to say out loud. The millionaire's face was like stone, but his eyes, were betraying him. For the first time, the boy saw something deeper than arrogance, deeper than guilt. Fear. Not fear of him. Fear of what he knew. The boy stepped closer, his voice low and steady. You did, didn't you? The millionaire exhaled sharply, his hands balling into fists at his sides. You have no idea what you're talking about. Liar. The boy had lived on the streets long enough to know when someone was hiding something. He could smell the lies. My father worked for you, the boy continued. His pulse hammered against his ribs, but he didn't stop. He trusted you. And then, one day, he just disappeared. The millionaire's jaw clenched. I remember the night they told us, the boy went on. I remember my mother crying. I remember her saying, they set him up. The millionaire sucked in a sharp breath. And that was all the confirmation the boy needed. His chest tightened. They set him up. The man in front of him, the man with his expensive suit, his perfect life, destroyed his family. The boy's hands curled into fists. He could feel the anger rising, threatening to consume him. Years of pain, of loss, of betrayal, all crashing down at once. "You had him killed, didn't you?" the boy asked, voice shaking. The millionaire flinched. "Not much. Just a flicker. But it was there." And then, just as the boy was sure he was about to hear the truth, the millionaire changed. The guilt vanished. The fear disappeared. And in its place was something cold. Ruthless. Dangerous. "You don't want to do this, kid," the man warned. His voice was low now, sharp like a blade. "You have no idea what you're stepping into." The boy's heart pounded. He was right. But it didn't matter. Because the truth, the thing he had spent his whole life searching for, was finally here. And it was worse than he had ever imagined. The millionaire took a slow step forward. "You want to know what really happened?" His voice was eerily calm. "Fine." The boy swallowed hard. The man's eyes darkened. "Your father wasn't the man you think he was." The boy froze. "What?" "Your father wasn't innocent," the millionaire continued. "He was involved in things he shouldn't have been. And when it caught up to him, there was nothing I could do." The boy's blood turned to ice. "No," he whispered. "You're lying." But deep down, a tiny, terrifying voice whispered. "What if he's not?" The millionaire exhaled, shaking his head. "I didn't kill your father. But I couldn't save him, either." The boy's breath came in short, ragged gasps. The ground beneath him suddenly felt unsteady. Everything he had believed, everything he had fought for, was unraveling. And now, he had a choice to make. To walk away, knowing the truth might destroy him. Or to keep digging, no matter what it cost. The millionaire leaned in, his voice barely a whisper. "Let it go, kid. Before it's too late." The boy's breath came in sharp, uneven bursts. His heart pounded so hard it felt like it would break through his ribs. "Let it go." The millionaire's words rang in his ears, but they meant nothing. How could he let go of something that stole everything from him? His father. His mother's tears. The nights he spent starving, the days he spent running. All of it started here. And now, the man responsible was standing in front of him, pretending to be the victim. The boy's fists clenched. "You're lying." The millionaire exhaled, running a hand over his face. "Believe what you want." His voice was tired now, but not broken. "But if you don't stop, you're going to get yourself killed." The boy stiffened. Was that a threat? Or a warning? His stomach churned. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to leave this behind before it was too late. But then, the ambulance doors slammed shut. His head snapped to the side. The woman. She was staring at him, her expression torn between relief and regret. Her hands rested on her belly, her fingers curled around it protectively. The baby. The boy's chest tightened. He had saved her life. Saved the baby's life. And now, she was being pulled back into his world. The same world that had destroyed his family. Something inside him shifted. He had spent years running, fighting, surviving. But now, for the first time, he realized, he wasn't the one in danger anymore. She was. The boy turned back to the millionaire. "If I walk away," he said slowly, "will you leave them alone?" The man's eyes flickered. The boy could see it now, the truth hidden beneath the polished suit and cold stare. The millionaire wasn't just scared of the past. He was scared of losing her. "Will you protect them?" the boy pressed. "Your wife. Your kid. Will you keep them safe?" The millionaire's throat bobbed. And then, finally, he nodded. The boy swallowed the lump in his throat. His fingers curled into his palm. This was it. He could keep fighting. He could keep searching for answers. Or, he could end it here. A slow breath left his lips. Then I don't need anything from you. His voice was hoarse. Not the truth. Not revenge. The millionaire watched him carefully. I just want one thing, the boy said quietly. The man frowned. What? The boy glanced at the woman one last time. Then he turned back to the millionaire and said, be better than you were. For a long moment, the man didn't move. Didn't blink. Then he exhaled, something shifting in his gaze. Not guilt. Not fear. Something closer to understanding. The boy nodded once. Then, before anyone could stop him, he walked away. Into the night. Back into the only life he had ever known. The city swallowed him whole. The boy walked fast, his hands shoved into his pockets, his heartbeat still uneven. His mind screamed at him, asked him if he had done the right thing. He had walked away. From the truth. From the revenge he had dreamed about for years. But it wasn't about him anymore. The woman. The baby. They mattered more. And yet. Something felt wrong. A chill crawled up his spine as he turned a corner, stepping into the dim glow of a street lamp. He knew these streets. Knew them like the scars on his hands. And right now? They felt different. He wasn't alone. His body tensed. His instincts screamed. Then. A shadow moved behind him. Too late. A heavy hand clamped over his mouth. He fought. Hard. Kicked, twisted, clawed. But the grip was too strong. A voice, low and dangerous, growled in his ear. You should have stayed quiet, kid. Pain exploded in his skull. Then. Darkness. Somewhere far away, the millionaire's phone buzzed. He frowned, lifting it to his ear. A voice crackled through the speaker. Cold. Unfeeling. We have the boy. The blood drained from his face. The woman's face flashed in his mind. Her words, her desperation. Be better than you were. His grip on the phone tightened. This wasn't over. Not yet. The world was a blur. The boy's head throbbed as he blinked against the dim light, his vision swimming in and out of focus. His arms were tied behind him. The air smelled of gasoline, dust, and something worse, danger. Voices murmured in the background. Men in suits. The kind of men who made people disappear. A door creaked open. Heavy footsteps approached. The boy didn't need to look up. He already knew. It was him. The millionaire. But something was different. His steps weren't slow and calculated like before. They were hurried. Urgent. The murmuring voices stopped. A chair scraped against the floor. And then, a single gunshot rang out. The boy flinched. His breath caught in his throat. Was that for him? Then the ropes fell from his wrists. Strong hands grabbed his shoulders. Not rough. Not cruel. But steady. Come on, kid, the millionaire's voice was low, determined. Let's go. The boy blinked up at him. This wasn't possible. The same man who had spent years burying the truth, was now saving him. For the first time, the boy saw something in his eyes that wasn't cold calculation. Regret. No words were exchanged. None were needed. The millionaire pulled him to his feet, and together, they ran. Outside, the city stretched before them, alive with lights and sirens. The millionaire exhaled sharply, glancing at the boy. They were going to kill you. His voice was tight. To keep you quiet. The boy nodded. He had always known the truth was dangerous. But what he hadn't expected, what he still couldn't believe, was that the man he hated most was the one who had saved him. He searched the millionaire's face, his mind racing. "Why did you come back?" the boy finally asked. The millionaire was silent for a long time. Then he let out a rough breath. "Because she was right," he murmured. The boy frowned. "Who?" A small, almost pained smile crossed the man's face. "My wife." He turned to him fully now, his expression unreadable. "I spent my whole life running from the past. But you? You ran toward it." His throat bobbed. "You reminded me who I used to be. Who I should have been." The boy stared. For the first time, he saw the man as a human being. Not just a villain. Not just the man who took everything from him. A man who had made mistakes. And a man who was trying to fix them. He sighed. "So what now?" The millionaire met his gaze. "Now? We do things right." The boy frowned. But then, the man held out his hand. A simple gesture. A silent promise. The boy hesitated. Years of pain, loss, and anger burned in his chest. But deep down, he knew, forgiveness wasn't weakness. It was strength. Slowly, he reached out. And for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. Because sometimes, the greatest revenge is change.